Ladies and gentlemen, so my name is Ashen. I scaled my business to over $70,000 per month as pretty much somebody who helps fitness coaching businesses, health businesses in person and online make more money with ads, content, etc. What we're going to be talking about today is going to be a little bit corny. Maybe you're not going to value it that much, but it's going to be about mindset. And I'm going to pretty much tell you why you need to make this something that's a priority. Every single billionaire or multi-millionaire is very obsessed with their mindset. They invest hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, not into, let's say, just their business, but also maintaining a good mindset, expectations on certain things, allowing yourself to be in a good state of mind to make money and to pretty much live the life you want to live. Okay? So this is what we're going to be going through today, and the things that I've found that have worked for me. I've taken a lot of these concepts from Sam Ovens, who I was in his program a long time ago with. A lot of multimillionaires were created from his program. He made millions of dollars a month, and he really focused, one of his main things that he focused on, Sam Ovens, wasn't just Facebook ads or funnels or whatever, but like 50% of that course was just on how to be in the right headspace. Okay? So that's what we're going to be going through today. And I hope you get some value from this video nonetheless. Okay, so when it comes to mindset, a lot of you guys, like I said, think that you just need these actions. You think you need the legitimate things in order to get to the next level. You study any billionaire, any massive person with massive amounts of wealth or capital or success, okay, they are wildly focused on perfecting their mindset and perfecting everything about their outlook of life, outlook on business, expectations of life. Okay? So we're going to be jumping into this and how this kind of can apply specifically to your business. So the entire mindset shift revolves around the fact that many businesses fail while having the perfect market, the best offer, and having everything set up correctly in their business. They have everything good. Okay? And this happens a lot with my clients. We'll do everything perfect for them. They'll have the perfect ads, perfect everything ready to go, but their mindset's screwed up. They're coming from it from a bad outlook. They don't have the proper expectations, and obviously they're not going to see success. They're expecting maybe like to not do any work. Okay? Bad mindset. Okay? They're scared of fear. Bad mindset. They're not willing to take risk. Bad mindset. So, however, the reason why you can't get all of that right and still not grow comes down to one thing, which is fear. Fear has and will continue to destroy more businesses than anything else out there. Any, fucking 2008 destroyed my business, or, the COVID crash destroyed my business. No, it's fear. Fear has killed more businesses. But by the end of this, I'm going to show you the exact steps that anyone can take and should take to kill fear before it kills your business. And what I have personally done and stuff that I've found has worked for me. Like I said, a lot of these concepts have come from books I've read or people who know more about this than I specifically do. Okay? I'm not an incredibly wise person in the sense of, like I don't have gray hairs. I haven't lived 50, 60 years on this planet. Okay? But I have accessed insights from people who have and applied those to my business and my mindset. Okay? So one of the biggest mental shifts came a while back when I read Skin in the Game by Nassim Nicholas Taleb. If you can get your hands on any of his books, probably one of the best investments you can make. The thing about his books is they're all math-based. They're all about math and statistics and game theory and etc. And he's been like he writes it in such a logical way. So if you can get your hands on his books, very good stuff. But in his book, Skin in the Game, one of the main concepts he explains is that success will only go to people willing to risk something valuable. Okay, their reputation, their ego, comfort, capital, etc. And that's valuable to you. So that's very much so dependent on what you value. Okay. For example, for studying courage in textbooks doesn't make you any more courageous than eating cow makes you bovine. Okay. You can study strategy. You can watch this video for years, but until you're willing to risk failure by actually implementing it, you're just another person with theoretical knowledge and no real world results. So if you never have anything at stake, no wonder there's no reward. And that's the exact trap most coaches fall into. It's the endless cycle of doubt, researching, learning, and doubting more and repeating the cycle, rarely ever taking risks to implement the theory. When I first started my business, I took the first 6 months to research. I'm like, okay, I'm going to research this industry. I'm going to build my website. I'm going to get my niche down. I'm going to do all of these preliminary actions. Research, be a skeptic, etc. And I did that for 6 months and I made no money from that. And it got me nowhere. And then when I actually started on the thing that was scary for me, which was making cold calls and doing cold outreach and getting sales meetings and trying to pitch my solution to random strangers on the phone, as soon as I started doing that, everything I did for the past 6 months went out the window because it all changed. I knew that didn't apply anymore because I was onto new things. Okay? Cool. So you have to understand that your brain will always hide fear as logical reasoning. There are always 1,000 reasons why you shouldn't do something, and your brain is very good at finding them, which further deepens the fear spiral, as the longer fear stops you from acting, the scarier the actions will become. Let me give you an analogy behind this. So, for example, let's say you're a guy or a girl, for example, and you see a pretty girl, and you're like, oh my God, I really want to go talk to this girl. She's so beautiful. I really want to talk to her. The more you think about it, the more you're sitting there and you're not sure if you want to go up to her, and you're like contemplating it, the more scary the action will become. You'll build it up as this ball of fear that you're feeding gasoline to. Okay? But if you see the girl, you're like, oh wow, she's very attractive. I should go talk to her. I should go get her phone number. And you just take action like that and do it. You're now experiencing a lot less scary feelings, fear, etc., compared to waiting and contemplating. Okay? That's why people who a lot of people when, like I don't say I want to think about it anymore. Okay? If someone says, hey, we should do something, or hey, we should, go do this, or let's say I'm on a sales call and someone's pitching me and they say, and they drop the price, I never say I want to think about it. I always will say, yes, I give them my word, yep, let's do it, or no. Okay? Make a decision, because it's just going to build up. That fear, that skepticism, etc., stop you from taking action. Same thing, especially in the weight loss industry, which I work in. People are the exact same way. They sit, they contemplate, oh, should I lose weight? They try it for a bit, they stop, they're not super committed, go back to old habits, contemplate more. They just feel tension because they maybe have failed, they're scared to fail, etc. Okay? So there's two types of fears in business, kind of coming back to business. So number one is growth fear. So growth fear comes from pushing limits, taking actual risk. It's the fear before your first big client call, before naming your price. Growth fear feels scary because something important is at risk. It's your ego, self-image, reputation, etc. But acting despite growth fear leads to growth. Okay? Number two is stagnation fear. So stagnation fear is the fear of changing anything, fear of being different, standing out, or going against what everyone else does. Keeps you playing it safe and keeps your prices low. Okay? Stagnation fear is pretty much when, for example, you're scared to raise your price. You're scared to ask a client for money. You're scared to objection handle. A lot of clients will come to me and they're like, oh, I feel weird objection handling. I feel weird. If someone says I want to think about it on a sales call, I feel weird trying to push them a little bit. Okay? That's stagnation fear. That's fear of you potentially, that's fear of you saying, okay, you know what? Maybe they actually do need to think about it and maybe they will give me money. So I'm going to let that scenario maybe play out. I'm going to maybe see if that may happen. Okay? And that seems more safe rather than putting my balls on the line a little bit. And maybe this blows up right here and they tell me to F off, but I'm going to try to get some movement going here. Okay? And what most people fail to understand is that you'll be uncomfortable either way. It's the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. There's no either way. If you talk to the girl or you don't talk to the girl, you're still going to experience pain. Okay? Let's say she does reject you. Pain. Let's say you don't go up to her, the girl, and get her phone number. You're going to be thinking, oh, I should have gone up to her. Pain of regret. Okay? So most coaches operate from fear. They make small, safe moves that don't take on too much risk. Okay? You need to understand everything good in life has a cost. Every reward comes with an equal risk. If you're trying to do something big in life or big in business, you can't expect to do something massive without taking on a big risk. There's not many massive opportunities where you take on a tiny fraction of risk to receive a massive yield. Doesn't work. As Isaac Newton said, Newton's second law, every action has an equal and opposite reaction. Okay? And it's funny, people want, they want the successful business, they want the financial freedom, the recognition, the impact, the money, the whatever, but they're scared to move, scared to invest, scared to speak up, and scared to fail. Okay? But back in the day, if you look at kings, for example, kings weren't just sitting in castles sipping wine. They were the first ones into battle, the biggest risk takers, the ones who bled the most. Because if you wanted to lead, you had to be willing to risk. The kings back in the day, 1,000 years ago, were the people who were given the most risk. That's why they were the kings. That's why they were royalty. That's why they had the respect. Nowadays, politicians, they're not like that at all. Okay? Cool. So translation, no one gets the upside without risking the downside. Okay? To avoid failure is to pretty much avoid success. So instead, don't run away from discomfort. As funny as it sounds, you have to face the music, as Sam Alvin says. Okay? You'll feel it, but you must welcome it and move towards it, understanding the more discomfort and risk you take on, the more you will be rewarded for it. It's like once you face Freddy Krueger and tell him you're not scared of him, he doesn't exist anymore. Okay? So you really do have to face the music, face what you're building up in your mind, and then it dissipates, it dissolves into oblivion, into nothingness. It's funny, people will be, for example, will be procrastinating on a task. Let's say I have a big client task, and I've been procrastinating on it for a bit. And I'm building it up in my mind. I'm like, oh, this is going to be such a pain in the ass. I'm kind of scared to do this, or I'm fearful or whatever. I'm like gut feeling. Then I won't do it for a little bit. And then as soon as I sit down and start taking action on it, gone. I know exactly what to do now. There's no fear. There's no pain. Okay? So the reality of having and growing a business is that it will be uncomfortable all the time. The discomfort doesn't just disappear no matter what level you're at. If you're at 10K a month, if you're at a 50K a month, if you're at 100K a month, even the biggest months that I've had, I've experienced the most amount of discomfort while having those months. You may think that you're going to make 50 grand a month, and then you're just going to be like, oh my God, I'm going to move to Mykonos and relax on a beach. As Notorious B.I.G. said, more money, more problems. The biggest months I've had, there will be more discomfort, and you have to be willing to take that on. Okay? You simply need to cultivate a habit of moving towards discomfort and accepting it, allowing yourself to feel the discomfort while still taking hard action. The more you consistently move through uncomfortable situation and embrace it, the easier it becomes. The hard reality is, if you aren't willing to feel discomfort, starting a business is not for you, as it is inherently part of the process. This is why when people teach entrepreneurship courses, like let's say Harvard, or like a school, like a university has like an entrepreneurship course. The university that I went to, that I dropped out of, they had an entrepreneurship course, and I was enrolled to take that course. And I was thinking about this. I'm like when I started my business, I was reflecting back. I'm like, well, what are you going to teach me in an entrepreneurship course? Like in high school, I've taken them as well. Like, you can't really teach a lot of the things that are valuable about being an entrepreneur, that will make you successful about being an entrepreneur. It's like teaching pain resistance. It's like being resilient to pain. It's like teaching, discipline. Okay. How do you teach that? Okay. However, despite its presence, I can tell you firsthand that the discomfort associated with building a business is absolutely worth it in the end. Okay. It's very worth it. Like what I did with myself, I probably took one of the biggest risks. Like, not even risk financially or etc. I risked my self-image. I risked potentially family relationships. I risked a lot, maybe like ego as well, by dropping out of school. Okay, because I was in a very good program. I was in pre-med. I was on track to become a doctor. Okay, and I was just like so done with the system. And I was like, okay, this is a massive risk, but I'm willing to take this risk. because I know I will figure it out. Okay. And I did take that risk, and I did experience some of the downside for a bit. People looked at me weird. People didn't talk to me. I felt weird about myself. I felt very nervous and fearful about the situation. Okay. But over time, things worked out. The risk had a payoff. Okay. So the more readily someone embraces discomfort and puts themselves in uncomfortable situations, the faster they will grow and achieve results. The people who are willing to quickly put themselves out there, even without knowing all the answers, are the ones who acquire clients and reach their goals most rapidly. And I see this across my clients because I've worked with hundreds of people who are starting businesses from scratch and trying to make money. Okay? The people who are like asking me loads of questions about, hey Ashton, are you sure this is correct about the ads? Or hey Ashton, are you sure this is correct about the school or whatever? Or hey, can you nitpick this one thing for me? I already know that they're not going to be successful. As horrible as that sounds, okay? Because they aren't taking full stride. They're taking a half stride. They're still concerned about the downside. They're still not trying to look forward and move forward. Hernan Cortez, when he landed on the beaches of Mexico, of the Yucatan Peninsula, okay, he said, the boats are burned. The only way forward, the only way out, the only way we're leaving back to Spain is by going through Mexico and conquering the Native American tribes. Okay? So instead of hiding or waiting for discomfort to subside, embrace it, take action. And the speed at which someone achieves goals is directly determined by how quickly they are willing to get and fail. Okay? Fail fast. Okay? Jensen Huang, NVIDIA, fail quickly and change courses as soon as you know it's a dead end. Okay? The people who are always contemplating about this or that or whatever, they're very slow to get feedback on their output because it's taking a long time to even put their input in. But if you're taking brute force action, okay, you're going to get an output very quickly on that, and then you could alter. Okay, most coaches spend months or years avoiding failure when they should just simply be seeking it out as quickly as possible. And this is the thing, you're bound to fail in business. However, if you fail fast and you can learn, adapt, and take action to evolve from it, rather than dying from a million cuts, slowly trying to avoid the inevitable. Okay, you're bound to fail. It's going to happen. You're going to have slow months. You're not going to make money in the first long time of your business, maybe the first couple months. And you're going to have to persist through that valley of desperation, of I need the client, of I don't have any money. So the question isn't whether someone feels fear. Everybody feels fear. The question is whether you let fear make your decisions for you or whether you'll make them despite it. Because the results, once you do, you'll start taking on more risk, more discomfort, risking your money, reputation, time, etc. But you can see an upside. You can make more money. Okay, these are clients who took risks, took bets on my own business. I don't take that small. I don't take that as something small. They're risking their capital. They saw a vision. They saw that I could help them. And a lot of them have seen upsides if they followed through with the course of action. For example, Hishan started from nothing. First month and a half, he hit 10K. Okay? Jake, another example. We started at 3K a month. Last month, he hit $15,000 in 1 month. I just did an interview with him on my channel. You can go watch it. Okay? So everyone talks about hitting, 10K a month like it's hitting the lottery. But these are two examples of our clients who've hit 10K a month with very little complexity. Okay? One of them by simply risking his image and the other risking his money. Okay? The results aren't impossible and they aren't very difficult. Really, it's simple, but it's hard. It all comes down to whether you want the results enough to bleed for them or not. And a lot of people aren't willing to risk their money, their time, their self-image, their ego to see that outcome. Okay? And those are the people who are not going to see success in business. Okay? So if you got success from this or some insight from this, I'm very happy. And I'm just going to tell you this. You've learned something today. You've gained a new insight. The rate at which you grow your business is going to be dictated by two things. what you know and how you apply what you know. So you learned something today. If you don't apply anything from what you learned today, I can guarantee you that you won't see a return on the knowledge you've gained today. So thank you for watching.